What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new season of F1 2019 Career Mode. Smash a like button, subscribe, and let's get into this brand new season where we have been kicked out of Ferrari. We have now been demoted to Toro Rosso. That is our new team, our new direction. Ferrari kind of kicked us out after the drama that was the end of last season. And now we have to climb our way back up the ranks in Formula 1, almost as if we're starting brand new in this career mode.
Welcome to your new team. Toro Rosso are famed for nurturing promising talent and kickstarting the careers of exciting drivers, from Vettel to Sainz to Ricciardo. But they're much more than that. This is a strong team that expects regular points finishes.
It's almost like I've gone full circle, because the first, I'd say, proper career mode I ever did on the channel was F1 2013 Season 1, which was the Toro Rosso season that we did. And that was really the career mode that really kickstarted my channel and, propelled me into, where I am today. So I'm very, very thankful for that series. So it's really, really cool to be back here once again. But yes, here we are with a brand new season. We have a lot of driver moves. Devin Butler goes to Ferrari, replacing myself. Lucas Weber goes to Red Bull, replacing Butler. Grosjean to Renault, replacing Ricciardo. Ricciardo goes to Racing Point. Magnussen to Alfa Romeo. That is a very strong signing for Kevin. We're going to scroll down. I have moved to Toro Rosso, and Alexander Albon has been let go in Formula 1. So, some very interesting moves there. Red Bull, we know, has the highest ceiling of the entire field. We'll now see what the regulation change has done in between seasons. Alfa Romeo is the best car. Toro Rosso is still the worst by quite a long way. So, yes, this is going to be quite the struggle in the early stages of this career mode. We have to build ourselves up from the bottom, and I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. But now that, Ferrari weren't showing confidence in us, we now... we were left without a drive, basically. They told us at the end of the season, and there were no other options to go to. And so Toro Rosso threw us a lifeline, if anything. But, yeah. Toro Rosso has the worst engine. We have the second worst chassis. But in terms of aerodynamics, we're actually pretty good. We're not last. We're the fourth worst team. We're better than Mercedes. Mercedes has the worst aero in the whole field, which is absolutely crazy. But, yeah, just showing you guys everything, the state of play with all the teams. This is what happened in the regulation change in between seasons. Ferrari took a monumental hit. I consolidated a lot of ultimate upgrades and major upgrades across the two departments, whether it be chassis and aero, but still, Ferrari have taken a considerable hit in performance. I feel like most of those... I don't feel like it's going to be as bad as what it's more made out to be for Ferrari, because I did consolidate a lot of performance-based parts, not the, weight redistribution. I let that go because it doesn't really do all too much. So watch out for them potentially to be a threat. But Red Bull is the second best car, not too far behind Alfa Romeo. So Lucas Weber could be back to winning ways once again in this season. Hopefully not, though. But anyway, we're driving out for our first miles in this Toro Rosso car. We'll get a good feel of what this car is like. I've been driving F2 cars a lot in career mode. Check out that series if you haven't already. We've done 3 episodes already, and I really, really enjoy the F2 category. So I'm used to driving some pretty slow cars. So when I stepped into the Toro Rosso, it actually didn't feel too bad for me. It felt like the car had a decent amount of grip. The balance felt really nice, despite the car being relatively slow. We get P9 in practice 2, and that was with a qualifying run. So perhaps at best this weekend, we will really struggle to get inside the top 10. But realistically, we're the worst car. And we're the worst car by quite a considerable margin. We're down a lot on horsepower. And so it's going to make life very, very difficult for us. We're going to have to hope that there's some carnage in the first few rounds. There's some weather that interferes. I believe there's some rain that is heading our way for the race. So we'll keep an eye out on that, and hopefully that can give us a chance to showcase our talent. But we're going to head into qualifying now and see exactly what this Toro Rosso is made of.
We're just about ready to kick off today's qualifying here in Melbourne. It's the Australian Grand Prix.
Here we go. Already thrown into the deep end. It is now time to see what the damage is going to be for us in terms of catching up to the rest of the field. Away we go for qualifying 1. I do not anticipate that we're going to get out of this session, but I'm going to throw everything at this to try and get ourselves a miracle qualifying 2 appearance. It looks like I've touched the wall there. I was just trying to push the limits quite a lot. Yeah, we're going to have to make do with... we're going to have to make a lot out of so very little in terms of this car package. We're having to complete this lap with a damaged front wing. Unfortunately, we're going to have to bring that into the pit lane and get that fixed up. We come across the line and we do a 1 minute 20.0, which is actually pretty fast in the grand scheme of things, but so many other teams have developed much better cars than us, and so yeah, in season 4 performance, a 1 minute 20 flat is not a good time. We see Romain Grosjean do a 20 flat, so that is encouraging that we were able to pretty much match him, even though we had a bit of a damaged front wing. So we'll see if we can... Well, the aim is to beat my teammate first and foremost for these opening few races, but if I can snag an extra position or 2 here or there, that'll be a massive bonus for the team. I think the, short to medium term objective for Toro Rosso is actually to get a 14th place finish, and we'll get a 600 point resource point bonus. And if I can get that, that'll be massive for our development, and it'll just give us extra momentum heading into the rest of the season. So that's what I'll be aiming for. Points is a bit of a pipe dream at this point. So that's kind of the beauty of a Road to Glory series, and the one especially like this. It's almost like we're taking on Williams. The deficit is that much, but we've got a lot of catching up to do in this season, that is for sure. Final lap here in qualifying 1, and we'll see if this is good enough to get us through to the next part of qualifying. It probably won't be, but let's see if we can snag a few positions as well in the process. Currently sitting in P18. I don't know who's last. It might be Romain Grosjean still as we run through the fast turns 11 and 12. We pick up a lot of time through there. We're 4 tenths up as we head into the 3rd sector, and this is where I wasn't exactly strong on my last lap with a normal front wing. So we'll see if we can make up a little bit more. Grosjean shoots up to P18. So that demotes the 2 Toro Rossos to the back row of the grid. Through the last corner, hot lap and max fuel mixture to the line, and we go P18. Unlucky. 1.9 seconds away. So we're not like miles off the rest of the field. Danny Kvyat could have done a better lap, I reckon. He's 6 tenths behind me. But we have outqualified another driver in this field, Romain Grosjean, in my former team of Renault. So we went from, winning championships to now being one of the worst cars on the grid. That is a really sad demise for what's supposed to be such a great team in this sport. But anyway, P18, it's not great, is it? But it's actually better than what I was expecting. I thought I might have struggled to beat Danny Kvyat in this qualifying session, but looks like we got a bit of a pace advantage over him, so that is nice to see. So heading into the race, which is raining, you can see there light rain for pretty much all of the race, and then it's going to go dry towards the end. Hopefully we can muster up a strategy that can get us that golden P14 that we need. How depressing is that? P14 is what I'm aiming for in this race. I'd love some points. It would be incredible, but I've got to be realistic here. I don't think... I feel like half a field will need to wipe out themselves in order for that to happen. But, I don't know. Who knows? We might be fast in the rain. I'm hoping that we are. If ever there's a time you want it to rain, it's when you're in a slow car trying to prove yourself in Formula 1. So let's go to the grid. The Australian Grand Prix, my home race, and the very first in this 2nd chapter of this F1 2019 career mode. Let's go out there and do them proud.
They say that even a second is an eternity in Formula 1, so going 4 winter months with no racing at all has seemed a very long time indeed. We're back though in Melbourne, home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. I'm joined today in the commentary box, as I will be throughout this season, by a great racing driver. Yes, a former F1 competitor, former world champion, and a very, very nice man as well. It's the one and only Anthony Davidson. And tell me, here we are, first Grand Prix of the season, and it's gone and rained on us. I imagine that's not exactly helpful for the teams who are still trying to figure out, of course, what kind of performance they're capable of.
Ah, thanks, Crofty. Well, it's a real privilege to be here, and I can't wait to see what's in store for us this season. Now, as to the weather, you're absolutely right. We've just come here off the back of testing, and it's their first opportunity to really gauge where they're at in terms of reliability, performance, how they're stacking up against their competitors, and now this. So the question becomes instead, which of the drivers can adapt to the circumstances and maybe even outperform where their car would have been in the dry?
I feel like that message is directed solely at us in the Toro Rosso. Let's hope that this weather forecast is one that is fortuitous for us today in this Grand Prix. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. We have a very tricky situation for the majority of the field. We have rain for pretty much the entirety of this race. It's going to be a bit hectic on this first lap, trying to get these cars off the line in the wet. My starts have not been great, but this Toro Rosso is very much so underpowered, and so I'm hoping that it makes the car a little bit easier to deal with. At least that's what I feel like so far this weekend. The car feels so stable, so planted, and so managing wheel spin isn't as much of an issue. So we'll see how it goes for us as we get ready to start this race, to start this season. Chapter 2 of F1 2019 career mode is underway. Let's get this Toro Rosso back to the front of the field, and it all starts here at the Australian Grand Prix. Not a great turn one. We're just trying to consolidate the starting position we've got at the moment, keeping tabs on Grosjean if we can. Hopefully, and this is a big hope, that a lot of other people get tangled up in the weather, in each other, make some bad strategy calls so that we can make some advantage out of this. We try and go around the outside of Grosjean, might give us the inside for the next left-hander on Lando Norris. Doesn't quite work out, and we are back into our starting position so far. These guys getting very restless here in the midfield. We go up the inside of Norris, and that is us up in a P17. So
that start was okay. Now stay alert for threats around you.
that start was okay. That start was magnificent. We've actually gained some positions, and on cars that are much faster than us. The McLaren has got a pretty decent package, I think, at least relative to us. Lucas Weber absolutely checking out up front. So even though he's in a Red Bull, the second best team in the field, he's still managing to drag that up into the race-winning position. You can see Norris having a nice run at us into turn one. And this is going to be a problem for us all race because we have no straight line speed. I haven't really gone for low downforce, to be honest. I think I've gone for like 5-6 wings. So realistically, I'm not going to have any advantage over the AI in terms of straight line speed. It's going to come down to the corners, really. So this is going to be a very tough start to the season. And this isn't even a power track. Bahrain is going to be absolutely hopeless for us. Anyway, we exit the final corner. Again, Norris has a wonderful run through there. Nice straight line speed. Thankfully, there's no DRS in this race today. Otherwise, we'd be screwed. Still finding a way with Norris. He gets the move done around the outside. He gets a little bit hesitant on the outside of turn 2. Grosjean coming through now up the inside as we head into turn 3. And will he get the position? Hopefully not. So we're going to see if we can hang it around the outside of Norris. But no, we can't get the inside for the next left-hander. And it is P18 once again with my teammate holding the wooden spoon in this Australian Grand Prix so far. Here comes Grosjean. He's looking very threatening. I had to hold my breath there for a second because I wasn't quite sure what he was going to do. Sometimes the AI can kind of turn across you and actually spin you out of that section of the track. But thankfully, we got through there unscathed, and we can focus on the rest of our race. But yeah, early stages, you can see that now the AI is settling into their rhythm and pace. We're getting left for dead a little bit. Norris is a couple of seconds up the road. Grosjean looking threatening as ever as we head into turn 3 for the 4th time. We have the inside and we keep him at bay. So this is going to be, I want to be at the front. I want to be in the points. I want to be making a difference in this race, but we just can't do that at this point in the career mode. This is almost like a big test session, just trying to collect data and circulate around and just making up the numbers. I haven't done this for a long time. F1 2018, when we're in the backmarker teams. F1 2017, we did that with McLaren. F1 2016, we did this with the Manor, and that was tough. That was very, very tough. But here we're in a decent team, but everyone is just massively outperforming us in terms of their development. But I'm settling into this stint now. I'm actually starting to gain some momentum relative to those around me. I've actually lost Remo Grosjean behind me. I've left, my teammate for dead. As you can see, I lose the back end through turn 2. Really starting to push the limits a little bit more now. Fuel load is coming off. The tyres are still holding out decently, but I feel like the track might be ever so slightly getting a bit drier, which is possibly getting me into the game. And of course, I'm just getting used to how much grip there is now. Team radio?
We'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in our strategy.
Okay, thank you for that, Jeff. Maybe I should ask when the weather is going to dissipate, because if we play our cards right, we could get to the dry tyres.
You're doing well out there, keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I was going to say, we could play our cards right and get to the dry period, get onto the dry tyres straight away without having to make another stop onto intermediate tyres. So that is going to be the aim now, as Max Verstappen is out of the Australian Grand Prix. That is, well, you don't want to see a driver retire at any time, but any time a driver does retire, more often than not, we're going to get a position in this race. So that gets us ever closer to P14, gets us ever closer to that miracle points paying position. But we'll have to wait and see. This is the next group of cars who are just up the road a little bit. Oh no, this is actually the cars behind us. So some have made stops, and I believe that they are now closing in on me. Ricardo is in on the Force India. It's so weird to see him in pink in the Racing Point. It just seems wrong. It seems wrong to just call Racing Point a midfield team and almost feel like they're doomed to forever be a midfield team. But I feel like Ricardo should not be at the team, and he needs to be somewhere where he can make a difference. I'm so sorry, Racing Point. Hopefully this can be the season where you guys can shine. Imagine that, Toro Rosso and Racing Point duking it out for the World Championship. Why not?
We anticipate an end to this rain in around 5 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
But anyway, while I've been going off on my massive tangent, we've now got ourselves up in a P6. A lot of drivers have made their stop. I think we're the last in the field to do so. But we are holding it out for this miracle strategy change onto dry tyres. This could get us some points if we play our cards correctly. We're now fighting away with Devin Butler in the Ferrari, who has replaced us this season. This means a lot, so let's see if we can keep him at bay. I'm going to fight for all of these positions now, because realistically, this is the battle to the end of the race now. Effectively, this has neutralized us. Everyone needs to make one stop to the end. Hopefully for us, it is still just one stop to the end, and we can make it work for us. But Devin, around the outside, through all of these corners, we're trying to make him go around the long way. This time, though, he has inside for the final corner. We get a nice exit, which might see us have a good run at him into turn 1. But the lack of straight line speed means that we just got nothing to fight with. And Devin takes P1. We're going to see if we can... He takes P1. He takes P6 on the run into turn 1. I'm very sorry. But we're able to keep a Ferrari under pressure for almost half a lap there. That was pretty impressive, considering the tyres now at this point are well and truly past their best. I think they're well over 60% worn in terms of the rear tyres. Now those are the tyres that are struggling the most. The fronts are actually pretty good. They're at about 40%, something like that. We're losing the back end now as we're getting to the end of this stint. The tyre wear has been massively...
The tyres are starting to fall off. Adjust pace accordingly.
Yes, I will, Jeff. Thank you very much. The tyre wear is massively imbalanced. You can see 73% on the rear, 46% on the front. I've been doing my best to manage wheel spin, but it just hasn't been enough, I suppose. I've moved the diff back to 50% to make it as easy as possible on the rear tyres, but still, there's only so much you can do. We are stretching these tyres a long way into the Grand Prix, past their recommended use by date. As you can see, we lose the back end through the middle sector, and we actually get a bit of a touch there from Pierre Gasly as we run into the third sector. Let's have a replay of this. I think I went in a little bit shallow. I missed the first apex, mounted the curve a lot, ran out wide, touched the grass, and then nearly touched the grass on the inside part of the circuit as Pierre Gasly runs into me on the straight, which was a bit clumsy on his part because he had so much space off to the left, but he decided to run into me, which is very odd. 9 laps left to go in this Australian Grand Prix, and my tyres are done. I think they're at 80%, 82% on the left rear tire. I need this dry period to hit right now. You can see that it has stopped raining. It has stopped raining. But we're waiting for that dry line to appear for the dry tires to be a viable switch in this race. But it's just taking a little bit too long for that to appear. You can see we're now under pressure from Pierre Gasly once again. He's got a couple of cars behind him as we're now calling into box this lap. Pierre Gasly soars past us on the back straight. We've now got Sergio Perez behind us in the Williams. We get back up the inside of Gasly there into the fast chicane, which was very surprising, but we lose all of the speed, all of the momentum on the exit. The tires are just gone at this point. I'm basically turning into a corner, and I'm having to catch the car. It's like Formula Drift, I suppose. Now we lose a spot to Perez, we lose a spot to Leclerc as well. Ricardo is behind us, and now we are only just about holding down a singular point in this race. And it just seems to be falling out of our grasp a little bit. You can see there's still spray being kicked up by the cars ahead of us, so the track is still wet. It's too early to dive it in for intermediate, for wet. God, it's still too early to dive it in for dry tires. Ricardo flies past us on the straight, and now we are out of the points. It was going to be a massive gamble, but it looks like it is not exactly paying off for us at the moment. At least if you were aiming for some points. But we're still in a much better position than what we were before the pit stop phases. We were P18 or P17. We were third to last in this race, so we're still realistically ahead of where we were, but we're not going to get points now. I don't think. We're going to see if we can dive it into the pits. Maybe on this lap, it might be just about worth a try, because at this point, the tyres are just about ready to give up, I reckon, as George Russell flies past us. We got no drive traction. We're just going sideways instead of going forwards out of every traction zone, which is really unfortunate. We've got Stroll going up the inside here. This is not great for us. Actually, we're going to spin out here. We've lost the back end. We're into the inside wall, and I think this is our race done. I think that is our race done. Even at this point, I feel like we might be heading towards last place in this race. You can see we go up the inside. Well, Stroll was up the inside of us. There was no touch. I reiterate, there was no touch from Lance Stroll there. And we got a puncture. Maybe that was the reason why we spun out. We're trying to get it back in the straight direction. We'll do a flick spin here. But our race has just gone completely downhill. Oh, no! Oh, no. It's all gone horribly wrong. We've done a flick spin. We finally rejoined on the circuit. But hey-ho, there is the torpedo himself. Danny Kvyat doing what he does best. I mean, of course, this is massively my fault, but if there was anything you didn't want to hit on the racetrack, your teammate was certainly that. And now we're last place. We are last place in the Australian Grand Prix. Both the Toro Rosso cars are in tatters. Bits are everywhere.
Got that confirmed.
We've got a puncture. We're last by an absolute mile. We're the slowest car by a mile. And now we're going to get lapped by our former F2 teammate. Life does not get any worse than this. The only step down from here is if we get kicked out of Formula 1. Oh, speeding in the pit lane. Wonderful. Way to kick a man when he's down.
There's a big drop in pressure in the rear left. The rear left is running a puncture. Go now.
Thanks, Jeff. I didn't realize I had a puncture. But off we go for the rest of this race. We can only hope that there's a safety car now, and that is just to get us back on the lead lap. That is all we are hoping for at this point now. Lucas Weber makes his pit stop, and coming out of the pit lane, he actually set the best lap of the race, coming out of the pit lane. I'll show you proof in a second. We come across the line, and we do a 29.4. So we only went a second faster than what Lucas Weber did, despite him coming out of the pit lane. And there you go. That was his first lap on softs, the whole race, going from pit lane to fastest lap. I have never seen that before, ever. Lucas Weber is something else. K-Mag sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I'm going to let him and Vettel go through. Oh dear. Vettel is locked up and giving me the place back. Oh dear, he'd be absolutely raging. He'd be calling for blue flags. And just about everything else under the sun. We're going to let him go through here. We're going to take a massively wide line. Vettel kind of hesitated there, and he is through the P3. But yeah, that's the last lap of the Grand Prix. That is the race. Lucas Weber wins somehow, despite... He doesn't have the best car. I don't know how he's winning, but he is in the Red Bull. and that Red Bull can only get stronger relative to the rest of the field. So that is a scary prospect in this career mode season. But for us, we've had the race from hell. Let's just get out of this goddamn hellhole.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
They certainly have. They've had a really good winter. They consolidated a lot of their upgrades that they made in previous seasons. They've made a brilliant signing in Lucas Weber. Devin Butler, I would say, left for greener pastures. He saw the dollar signs. That was Ferrari. Wanted to be in a top team, but unluckily for him, he's left at the worst time. Red Bull is now up there as the best car. So Devin, it seems his wait for a championship is going to go on that much longer. And who knows, this might finally be Lucas Weber's season to win a title. He still hasn't done it yet, despite being consistently at the front the entirety of this career mode. Constructors, though, we have a three-way tie. And Ferrari isn't too far behind either in P4. So the top four teams have a monopoly on the rest of the field, and then there's slim pickings for the rest of us. But yeah, this was always going to be a hard season in career mode. You guys wanted to see me challenge. You wanted to see a road to glory. Well, here we are, fighting away for last place. The only way is up from here.
Bad luck out there today. Let's talk about it. It was more like dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was very aggressive. You have to be when you're in the position that we're in. We'll get it right next time.
You had a bit of contact today. Who was at fault there?
Mostly my fault, but I feel like it's probably a little bit 50-50. Kvyat could have gone a little bit slower into there, maybe. I don't know.
Great. Well, that's everything.
That's a great result. You did really well. I don't think we can have any complaints with that performance.
Are you sure about that, Jeff? Did you see the race? Did you see that I finished last out of everyone who actually finished the race, and I took out my teammate in the process, causing a massive repair bill for the team. But they can't have any complaints about the performance, so if they're happy, I'm happy. But there we go. That has been the very first race of... I don't even know what season we're on now. Is this season 3? Season 4? I genuinely don't know. I really don't know. I think it's season 4. I actually haven't set it up until this point. We're on episode 64, so I'm guessing it's season 4. But anyway, 1100 resource points to spend. I'm just looking at what is the smartest option. We are the worst car in the field when it comes to engine performance, and we actually have done quite a few department efficiency upgrades, and actually we have maxed out all of the quality control upgrades. So we're going to max this out and go for as high as what we can, and we're going to go for a major power upgrade, and the upgrade will not fail because we've done all the quality control stuff. So that will go on for the Chinese Grand Prix. So not the next episode, it will be on the next episode after that. So heading into Bahrain, we don't have any more of a better package. For the most part, the AI don't upgrade heading into race 2, so at least I've got that to hope for, but we'll have a decent upgrade heading into China, which should hopefully will still be the worst car, to be honest, but we need to get that snowball of momentum going. We need to get that P14, get that extra 600 points of resource point bonus, and then I reckon by the time we get to the European season, hopefully we'll have a much better package than what we've got now. The aim is to literally just catch up with the rest of the field. We need to not be in our own league, if you will, because there's really no one really around us in terms of raw pace. We need to get in the fight with the midfield, and then from there we're going to have a much more fruitful season. At worst, we're only 2 seconds away, at least from what we saw in qualifying in the dry. But in the race, our lack of straight line speed is certainly getting exposed, and at least it was today in the rain. Could have been on for a really good result today if our tyre wear was a little bit better, or if the rain stopped a little bit earlier. But, you know, when we're in this position in the championship, we've got to take these risks in order to get that big payout. Because we were on for no points anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this new season of career mode. Absolutely smash the like button to show your support. I know you've been waiting a very, very long time for it. And now we are back once again with career mode. So that's it from me today. Until the next race, I'll see you next time.